Welcome to Inspired by Design, the podcast where we explore the tools, stories, and insights to help you rediscover your authentic self and navigate life with less resistance. I'm Katie Rupert, a former hustle and grind overachiever on a thrilling and messy journey. I love to share what I'm learning and help others in self-discovery using human design. So, if you're seeking a way to move forward, let me be your weekly mindset coach and share stories to inspire you to action towards your unique purpose without the force or burnout. Welcome back to Inspired by Design. This is Katie, your host. I have another guest with me today, Shannon Hagerty. She is such a fun person to know, so I can't wait to introduce you to her. Shannon is a multifaceted intuitive coach and creative catalyst who weaves together beauty, energy, life design with over 20 years as a professional makeup artist. She now offers feng shui consulting, angel card readings, and intuitive life coaching. Shannon helps driven women who feel overwhelmed reclaim calm, clarity, and the sense that they're steering their own lives, both inside and out. And because we look at everything through the lens of human design on this podcast, I want to introduce you to Shannon also as an emotional manifesting generator with a 3-6 profile. What the heck's that mean? She has variety as key to life. And just from her little bio there, you can tell that she's got her hands in a lot of different passions, which is chef's kiss for a manifesting generator, to keep her energy high. She also has that emotional authority. And when we did her reading, there was definitely some ahas, like you have to really move towards things that you want to do, but then tell all the people in your life, like, let me sleep on that. I will get back to you a little bit later. Her personality profile being a 3-6 means she's got this like double 3 going on. She's here to like get messy and dirty with life, maybe make a few mistakes, try it a few times wrong, get that experiential wisdom. And as her life progresses, she really is that wise sage, the Buddha character we can all trust and go to. And I think you'll already start seeing some of that 6 come through. So Shannon, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Katie. I'm so excited to be here.
Good. I love that our paths crossed. Our friend Tess, who is also doing an episode in this series, she is the one that told me about you. And you had done this like makeover for her, getting her website pictures and headshots done. And she told me about how you're so good at helping women like figure out makeup, especially when they're over 40. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need that so bad, because I'm pretty sure the girl at the Bare Minerals taught me how to put mascara on like when I was 20, you know?
Yes, totally. Totally. Yeah.
So I'm glad our paths crossed. And then we crossed again at a fun little exchange of our intuitive gifts. So I was in design, you were at a table along the road there doing angel card readings, which I had never experienced or heard of before. And now, I mean, we've met several times and I am so intrigued by that. So we're definitely going to talk about that today too. So I thought maybe we could start with just you telling me a little bit about your story. This podcast is for inspiring people to take action. And because you're in this intuitive space, both with coaching, with your angel cards and so much more, I know you get messages from spirit, and I would love to know a little bit about you and whatever you want to share. I know you've got a beautiful family, and then maybe a little bit about your journey to being where you are now with feng shui and angels and all of these things. What would you say is your story to this place that we are finding ourselves today?
Yeah, thanks, Katie. So my story, gosh, I feel like all of us have had something, especially as a little kid, but mine wasn't as prevalent as other people say, like when I was a kid, I could see things or feel things. I had the sense that something was there watching me. It was more I grew up Catholic. So it was more like God had these angels watching me to make sure I wasn't sinning, was kind of like my spiritual background growing up. But it wasn't until I grew up, went through crazy 20s. I lived in Las Vegas for a while doing sales and makeup. Once I got back here and started my family, married my husband, and I like to say like my gateway drug into spirituality was feng shui, ironically enough. And it came after having a miscarriage, unfortunately. So I got married. We were trying to have our first baby. I lost the first baby like very soon. They deemed it a chemical pregnancy. I think it was one of those things where I didn't have a solid answer, which drove me crazy, being like a perfectionist and always high achiever. So it was like, okay, what did I do wrong? How do I fix this kind of situation? So there was something in me that was like, I finally accepted that maybe I didn't do anything wrong, but I needed something new in my life. So I went to this, it was called a master consultancy course in feng shui. So I went out to California to learn feng shui after that, and it opened up my world to like energy. So I think that's a big thing that we all kind of forget, especially with like spirituality. It can get very confusing and we get it mixed up with religion and all that kind of stuff. But when we learn like just the basics of energy, it's really cool to see how stuff moves. And that's what feng shui was all about. So feng shui came along and I ended up like doing a mastermind with my mentor, who's also named Katie. So it was really fun. I got to have a reading with her. So even though I had passed the course and thought I was like this amazing feng shui consultant, I had a reading with her and trying to get pregnant again after having that miscarriage. She pointed out something in my home's chart that I didn't see, that my bed was above a fireplace, for example. She brought something to my attention. I moved my bed. I ended up quitting the job that I had because I was in skincare sales at the time and it was super stressful. They were getting ready to sell to a huge corporation and it was like good for them, bad for everyone involved because it was like, get your numbers up, constant change, which usually I love change, but in that scenario, it brought more stress and not fun in my life. So yeah, it was just after that feng shui reading, I quit my job. I found out I was pregnant the day after my last day there. So I had given my notice. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this bed thing changed my life. Feng shui has changed my life.
That's
Right.
great.
So I was like, I'm going all in. But at the time, I had still been doing makeup on weekends and for weddings for this whole time. So makeup's kind of been my driving force for a long time. And yeah, been through having a child and going through, I'm here in Missouri, so I went to the Mercy Birthing Center. So that's kind of in and of itself learning about, from the midwives, kind of just how we are intuitively gifted as women to do a lot of things that now are assisted medically. So I chose not to have some of the, as crazy as I feel about that now, but I decided not to have any medicine during labor and all that kind of stuff. I did actually have laughing gas towards the end, which was lovely, but that's neither here nor there. But it was kind of like, I think through that journey, that was the first time I tapped into my intuition. So I studied energy as if it were a course like I would have studied in college.
Yeah.
But through pregnancy and having a child, I was like, okay, there's this intuition piece. So it started developing, like things started going, and then I was doing lots of makeup and I'm meeting lots of people. I'm in lots of people's faces all the time, right? So, and very close, intimate, like,
Yeah.
so it doesn't bother me to pick someone's like eye booger or real booger out of their face. Like it's just like part of my job. So I get super intimate face to face, not any other way. But anyway, just people would then open and I would hear, if it was a wedding, just the bride's stories and what was going on in her life as far as career and going deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm like, I'm just making you pretty for the day. So I started picking up on this, like, I got to have more stuff to feed these people. Like, I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to make you look great. Right. I ended up getting my life coaching certification. And then I studied the psychic stuff. It's only been a couple of years, but I think it was 2023. I had kind of this lingering illness with a herniated disc in my neck, and it was keeping me awake for nights on end. And I mean, I could have very well been going crazy, but what actually happened was I tried everything. So I went between chiropractors, physical therapy, Reiki. I ended up going to a shaman. When I got home from having this meeting with the shaman, I all of a sudden could hear dead people, and it was crazy to me. And
Wow.
that's what I was like, why are dead people talking to me? Right. So my uncle was the very first person who came through and had a message for my father. So I realized I needed to reach out to someone and figure out how to work around this psychic mediumship that all of a sudden had opened up because it was affecting me physically. Like when people would come in, it would affect me very physically. I'd get nauseous, all this kind of stuff. So working through that, I feel like it's just been like this ongoing kind of pattern. And I'm glad that variety is the spice to my life, like you said, in human design, because I feel like I can jump from, it was like feng shui to intuition to now psychic mediumship with the angel cards. So the angel cards are what help me connect to other people and their spirits and guides, which is really, really nice. So I like to add that into my coaching now because I think there is such a huge benefit that people get from tapping into that intuition. And then I inadvertently help them get to their intuition because I do get a lot of people who doubt what's there, what's real, what's not, and rightfully so. I think that's super fair. Or a lot of people too who were raised religious as I was, and then they're like, "Is this even okay?" And I'm like, "I'm not." It gets confusing. Like what we were taught maybe the devil or evil is not what I'm doing. It's like I definitely like to stay in the light and call myself a light worker. And that's a huge part of what I do and try to bring to everyone I know as well. So that's kind of my story. The one thing, it's funny because I keep getting to hear this too. So in 2019, my husband and I both decided to quit drinking as well. And I had already been going to Al Anon, which was a 12-step program. And I also feel like working through Al Anon. And then when we decided to very much stop drinking, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go through AA as well. And working those 12-step programs was huge in realizing my relationship, rewriting my relationship, I should say, with my higher power, my God, realizing who God was and who he wasn't to me. So I do call my higher power God, but it opened me up also to all these people who had different ideas of how higher powers and how that all worked. The 12th step is having a spiritual awakening as a result of these working the steps. And I think that played into my evolution. So here I am today, still doing makeup, still doing a little bit of everything, but glad to do it all and hopefully always with a smile on my face.
Yes. Wow. I'm glad you added that in. The 12-step program is really special to me as well. When I was the church that I was going to back in the or 2015, 17, something like that, did a 12-step program called Celebrate Recovery. And I just went because I was so intrigued by it. And just hearing you talk about intuition, I think that's a really great bridging gap for maybe someone that doesn't understand psychic mediumship and angel cards and what the heck is feng shui. Did you tell me yet?
Yes.
But I do feel like I was drawn to that program and I didn't know why. And I went consistently for a long time. And I ended up picking something that was a problem so I could go through these steps, but it was
Yes.
so like healing, and everybody can benefit from something like that. And you're so right. I think the 12 steps are just a very beautiful, practical, down to earth, can meet anyone where they are approach to. I loved how you said it. What is God? What is not? Like what do I believe? It's a beautiful
Yep.
way that has some structure to it.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm so glad you
totally.
got that in. So,
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad that you like that. Yeah, because sometimes it's one of those things people feel very uncomfortable to talk about. But I think 12 steps if you just work them as a spiritual program, and it's actually great, you know?
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And I wouldn't have ever thought to say that out loud, I don't think. I do want to also just call out a couple of things that you shared in your story. First of all, I affirm and say heck yes to you being a light worker. I love that, hopefully, with a smile on my face, what you said there at the end. You do that. I love that it's intentional. But when I am in your presence, I do feel light and love and all of those lovely things. And I know you've got a lot going on in your life and figuring things out. You know, we've had the privilege of being together and kind of talking through some of the hard things that are there. And so I know that it's not fake. I know it's not put on, and yet there is a way when you're navigating the mess and the confusion and all of that to still show up in love and light and with the smile on your face that isn't fake, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if we're crying in the morning and laughing a few minutes later.
Totally.
um,
Totally.
yeah, and then you talking about intuition as one of the steps towards like some of your gifts coming, your spiritual awakening, the spiritual gifts coming out. I know so many people talk about like just go with your gut, and human design has a lot to say about that, especially for generators. But if someone listening just kind of felt a spark, like, ooh, I don't think I could do psychic medium stuff, but
Sure.
that intuition really, I'm curious about it, or where's my bed need to be sitting, like,
Yeah.
right?
All the
Um,
questions. Yes.
so how would you advise someone to start leaning into intuition or start noticing it? Is there a small stepping stone that you could have someone try today?
Yeah, definitely. I have two of my favorite things that I do regularly is a grounding meditation that I do where I picture my feet going into the earth and being roots of the tree. So it's a really quick meditation. When I first started doing it, it was actually in a women's group that my therapist had put on, which was cool. So you picture your feet kind of going in and grounding, and then your head kind of opening up to the heavens, or again, your higher power, whatever you believe that to be. So once you've grounded into the earth and then you're willing to open up, I think that it sounds like one of those things like that a kid would do, right? But a lot of intuition is tapping into that inner child, getting back to your subconscious, getting back to your imagination. So if you can imagine your feet going in and creating roots down into the earth, and then a little bubble above your head opening up to the heavens where like angels could come in and help fill you with light, like that's a great way to start. I've been meaning to record that and put that on my website. So this is a good reminder to do that. But so that will be available for download. I like to do that. And then the other thing, tapping into your intuition, especially when you have that resistance from religion or religious space that you came from. I think a lot of it comes off as taboo, as to what you're doing, but like praying and meditation, very similar. But one thing that helped me, the step that helped me the most in these 12-step programs was step number 3. You come to rely on a God as you understood him. So as you understand or understood this God, it was super important for me to like label who I'm praying to. I was praying to a God I was afraid of, I think, for a long time. So this is probably getting very spiritual and semi-religious at this point. So take what you like and leave the rest for sure. But I think working through like, okay, cool. Who do I want my God to show up as? And I've always learned it was like an unconditional loving God. But in my mind, I had made it a scary Zeus like person who was going to throw lightning darts at me as soon as I sinned or thought bad or whatever. So I had always talk about like overachiever. I tried to live as a saint or as
Mm.
Jesus would have, when in real life that's not feasible for the average human. Those would be my 2 steps to tapping into intuition, getting clear on who your higher power is, and then working through some meditations that help not only connect you to that higher power, but also ground you, because we have to live life right here where we
Yes.
are on earth.
Yes. So good. Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Whew, I I feel
Sorry, I didn't know it's going
like
to go that deep.
I love it. I love it. It's perfect. So I think I want you to talk a little bit about feng shui. Maybe just the smallest definition for someone that's like, I think I've heard that word before. I'm curious if you notice as you're doing these consultations and helping people like so practically, right? We've talked about this deep spiritual stuff, but if we're in your house and we're trying to work with the energy that's there and support someone practically, do you notice a lot of like similar stuck patterns? Is there something you're almost always telling people to do? And if you're willing to share that, because I know you get paid for that too.
Yes, absolutely. No, there are some general guidelines for feng shui. And feng shui actually means wind water in traditional. I study traditional Chinese feng shui. When feng shui was first introduced to me when I lived in Las Vegas in my 20s, I was studying, I did not realize, but it was called black hat feng shui, which feels a little bit more like black hat magic, like in your head. Or that's what I picture as like a man with a black hat. So traditional Chinese feng shui very much means the way energy moves through your home. So when we're thinking about the way energy moves through the home, it comes in through the front door, and we want it, again, using our imagination to wander around and meander and go and stick in places. Like if it was sparkly, let's use Tinkerbell. If it was like Tinkerbell floating around your house, where would you want her little sparkles to be left, right? So if there's clutter, she's gonna get stuck. That
Mhm.
energy, so energy gets stuck in clutter a lot of times. And that is one thing. I mean, with kids, it's also you can't always, you have to live your life. So you can't always have completely clutter free, So I don't want anybody to take this as like, oh gosh, I don't have good energy because my kids' soccer stuff is on by the door and stuff. It's okay to have a little bit, but for the most part, everything has its place. So trying to stay clutter free is huge. The other thing that I often see is bedrooms, because most bedroom sets for some reason are always sold with the bed, a dresser with a mirror on top, and then another chest of drawers. It's interesting that those mirrors are always in the bedroom because there are not supposed to be mirrors in the bedroom.
Mm.
It allows another, so if you think about it, it's a reflection. So it can show up, it's like a double energy, basically, or it feels like another person. It allows another entity, human, person, whatever, into the relationship. So if you're claiming your bedroom as your romantic sacred space and you're in your most vulnerable position when you're sleeping, you want to make sure you just eliminate that variable. No mirrors in the bedroom. So if you have a closet or even a hallway that you can put your mirror, I highly suggest that, just knowing what I know about feng shui. So that's one thing that I see, just because so many bedroom sets
Yes.
automatically come with a mirror, right? So hopefully that trend goes away. If you can, replace it with a beautiful picture that makes you think of love, romance, or pairs of things are great too. So those are typically big ones that I see. And then in children's rooms, a lot of times kids' beds are pushed up against the wall, like a side of the bed. So you always want your headboard against a solid wall, which is great. But you want it floating because you want the energy to be able to go all around your bed while you're sleeping. So just again, thinking of like Tinkerbell kind of floating all around you. And what I think people do for safety almost is put their kids' beds in a corner,
Mm.
so it blocks that energy from flowing. And a lot of stuff that we see today with kids with anger issues, attention issues, all those things sometimes can be helped with that. People will be like, that absolutely sounds crazy, but try it and see. And I think it's one of those things that's worth a shot. So
Oh.
getting kids' beds off the wall and removing mirrors, huge.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I love that. And as you're talking, I do notice my intuition about my home. I know nothing, and literally everything you said was new to me. But
Oh, yeah.
the I do notice how I feel. And I've always just said, I'm just more a minimalist. I just got to get rid of everything because when there's something on the floor, something in the way, and I feel a lot of times I just struggle because I'm fast. I'm always running late. So there's always clutter. There's always everything, but it
Mhm.
stresses me out. I know it's my fault. And then I do it. And then I'm stressed. And it's just like this cycle. But like right now, we had gone through a whole bunch of stuff and done donations. So there's like 5 things just sitting, waiting to either be dropped off or picked up right
Oh,
in
yeah.
front way. And like every time I see it, I'm like, oh, like it just rubs me wrong. I was like, okay, the Tinkerbell example really helps. I'm like, yeah, you can't flow into that beautiful room that's supposed to be empty and lovely. So
Right.
that's, I mean, so cool. I'm really excited about when you come and do my house session. That's going to be so great.
Yes. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, and a simple tagline for feng shui is where focus goes, energy flows. So if your
Yeah.
focus goes to it, the energy is going there. So yeah, if those are driving you crazy, that's your focus, your energy is going to be that frustrated, like every
Ah,
time you see it. So yeah, if you can set them outside or
right.
garage or something. Yes. Yes, it's so true. I mean, don't look at my desk right now as I'm speaking, but
Yeah, and I do. I notice like it gets to a point and then I have to like clear everything and they call it like
mhm,
ADHD or something, but I feel like
right. They call everything ADHD these days. I think it's a good like cover all, right?
yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the cards, angel card readings. You've already mentioned that you use that with your coaching and it just helps. I totally get that as I call myself a transformational coach, but I use human design lens, the sound, custom sound tone. So people can be in the background helping themselves. And then I get the credit for it because these tools, I didn't create these tools. I'm just
Right.
equipping them with the tools. That's what it sounded like to me. You're getting the support of spirit guides and angels and help from the heavens to support your coaching clients. So, like, why the heck wouldn't you work with someone like us, right? Uh,
Right.
so, but talk
Yes.
to us a little more about angel cards and what is that? How is that different from tarot? How is it different from oracle messages? What do you think drew you to that specifically? Anything you want to tell us about those and talk to us like we've never heard of this before. Like I've heard of Gabriel during Christmas time, but never anything else.
Right. Right. Oh, I love it, Gabriel. Yes. So yeah, angel cards came to me. So it ended up wild that I studied under, or I had readings and then ended up studying under someone who studied directly under Doreen Virtue. So I had a reading in Maui, Hawaii in 2019 by this woman at the Maui Healing Retreat who had studied under Doreen Virtue. And then my psychic mentor had also studied under her. And I came across these cards that are called Archangel Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. I believe at the time it came up from Amazon. It was one of those like divinely guided things. So it's like when things pop in your head, there's actually a card in this deck that says claircognizance. So when you have that knowing, like, okay, I need this right now, that's claircognizance. And we all have these gifts. Not all of, we don't all have all the gifts, but we call them the clairs. But claircognizance, for example, you get that inner knowing. I was like, okay, I have to find something that is a tool to help me reach people. So I had studied the angels under this mentor and another person before, and it was very new to me at the time. So I was like, what are they talking about? Because again, for me, I was like, all the angels in the Bible. That's all I know, right? And what I knew was very little. There's not a huge chapter on angels, or if there is, I'm unaware of it. So I ended up in following my intuition, buying these cards. And then for a while, I was like, I don't know how to use them. So what I did was I asked my angels and spirit guides after I had been studying with my mentor to guide me. And I have a group of college girlfriends, and I was practicing with them, and I felt stuff coming through, and it felt relevant. And then it was very relevant once I knew, my friend's dad came through, then my other friend's mom came through. and it was coming through with the cards. So it was very, I don't know, a lot of people would call it a coincidence,
Mm,
right? It it turned out to not be totally coincidental, and the messages were validated by people. So I shuffle them just like they're playing cards. I I listen and stop shuffling when I feel right and pull cards. There's definitely more of a intuitive divine guidance to it than there is a certification I could get to do these cards or to do any cards. I've looked into it and I'm like, I don't know if that feels right because it feels so divinely guided at this
yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Like you said, like you were just looking for a tool. It's not someone else's interpretation of the tool, but you made it your own with your spiritual practice. I think that's perfectly valid and beautiful. And I got to do a reading with you blind, which was so nice because, you know,
yeah,
we had met up and then wanted to just do a trade human design and angel card because I'd never done that or anything. I have watched enough Tyler Henry and like the
yes,
what's the guy Teresa Caputo.
uh-huh,
I'm just so into all that you know those shows and things. I'm like, oh, I want that to happen to me someday. But
yes,
so I was like, I'm not going to tell her anything that's going on, but it just happened to be like one of the most dramatic phases of my life when I got this reading with you. And the things that came through just moved me. And I just really believe that was God and, you know, the system that I have, like really giving me confirmation and validation and just a hug, like a spiritual hug. Like, hey, I love
yes.
you, Katie. And I'm, you know, using this gift that Miss Shannon has to show up for you. And I I got chills. But I just
Yay.
feel like I I feel like that unknown piece of it, like where you're just like trusting that there's a reason that you're guided to do this and you're just doing it. And you're kind of putting a lot of trust out there. I don't know if I'm going to be right or not. I don't know. I can't make this stuff up. And
Yeah.
I actually got to witness you at one point during my reading. I had shared a little bit about what was going on in my life. And then there was a point that you said, hold on, I think my mind or my head is getting in the way. And I don't want this to be me making sense of it. So, like, you took a minute and recollected your connection. I thought that was really
Yeah.
valuable too. And I think anyone that is looking to get a reading or they're not sure what they're looking for, maybe you have some advice for this too. But what I'm feeling led to say is don't put all of your trust into the person. You want to be open and notice how you feel when they're sharing
Hmm.
things with you and let your intuition come out too, because it's like a partnership thing, just like when you're having a
Yes.
healing session, which you could put this in that category too. It's not the
Hmm.
person who's healing you, the healers hold space, right? So
Right.
same kind of thing, you get to be that user of the tool that's had some practice that can decipher when their head's getting in the way a little bit more likely, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's just such a beautiful practice. Do you have anything else to add about it, or what you would share why someone would come and do a reading with you?
Yeah. Well, I was glad that you mentioned that about because I don't remember. So a lot of times when I am channeling, I won't remember, or like certain things will stick out to me about a reading, and then I'll know, oh, I like to follow up with my clients a few days later. Like, how are you feeling? Is everything okay? And sometimes what sticks out to me is completely different than what sticks out to my client. So I love that aspect too, because they're getting different information than they're literally sometimes I don't know what's coming through. So I love that aspect of it. But yeah, people come to me in all kinds of times, and especially when there is, I feel like, a big transition in their life, transition or transformation, however you want to say it, career, divorce, marriage. I've had several people come to me after the death of a loved one. confusion is a big one. People are just like, I don't know what's going on. And that's like all they can say is, I don't know.
Yeah.
And when that happens, we can ask what they know, because there is usually something, again, it's almost tapping into that subconscious and figuring out what is it that we do know, or even tapping into like our soul or higher power. There's something there for us. And sometimes we can't grasp it because of all this stuff, crap around us
Mhm.
in the world. So if we can get to that divinity, like, why not use it and utilize it and get those messages? Because they're usually pretty good.
Mm. That
Yeah.
makes me think about like myths and misconceptions, like
Mhm.
with all the things that you're doing, be it life coaching, readings, feng shui, I guess you'd call
Oh,
that
yeah.
too.
Mhm.
Are there some myths that you'd like to bust, or like, hey, people usually feel this way or think this, but actually it's that? Anything come to you when I ask that?
Yeah, I think it's just the reality of energy. It's something that has been studied for a long time. And as you were saying that, I was just picturing myself doing these two different things. So doing makeup is very tactile, very physical, very, you can see the transformation, right? And the spiritual side is a little tougher because a lot of times you can't see that immediate transformation, but I can feel it. So it's there. And then I get the validation again from clients a couple of weeks later. Okay, because of this, this happened. But I think it is it's a myth in your mind. There's people, on the other hand, there's people who don't believe in makeup. They're like, I'll never use makeup. I don't believe I need makeup, or whatever you believe in about beauty in general, can be different. So I think if you can believe different things about all the woo woo things that are out there, but just like anything else, I've studied it to share my gift with people, and just how you've studied human design to share with people. So if you are willing and able to tap into people who have this knowledge, experience, and gift, I mean, why wouldn't you, kind of thing? I would almost say try it
Yeah.
and take what you like and leave the rest. It's always my advice. But it is interesting when I get into a reading and I know someone is a total like non-believer, like, okay, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, what's this crazy lady gonna say? It's so fun to watch, because then there's typically a shift, after I pull a few cards, and then they're like, oh, okay. They lean in and they're like, so wait. And it's like, okay, good. They opened up to it's their angels and spirit guides that are coming through in this moment. It's not me. Okay. It's cool to see that flip, and don't knock it till you try
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
So good. Yeah. I love that. And I think the openness, like someone shows up and they're a skeptic, that is enough openness for spirit to use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, beautiful. And I
Yeah.
liked how you brought out the idea of like our different beliefs. So if listening to this conversation, feng shui really stood out to you and angel cards really was resistant, okay, like listen to
Right.
your intuition about it, like it's not something
Totally.
that we need everyone to want, but like the tools that have called to us, they were meant for us, and then we get to serve others within our integrity, within our trust, and hopefully both parties would know, is this your tool or not.
Right.
I
Right.
feel that way
Yes.
about human design too. Sometimes I'll do a reading for someone. I'm like, this might end up just being some really interesting information. And if that's the
Yeah.
case, then it should be valuable. But if you're still thinking about what we talk about after, then let's talk again, because it might be a tool that can serve you like it did for me, become this fast forward button for you to really find that ease and flow in your life that you've been missing. So I feel like kind of saying the same thing there, take it or leave it, but try it if it's calling to you, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's funny because I keep thinking of accountants, like it's the same thing. Like we don't need accountants, right? But they help us with our taxes. And sometimes you have to go to different accountants to figure out which one knows your business the best or knows your life the best to get your taxes filed in life or whatever. And that's a very concrete, earthly job that I could never had. My
Same.
one of my very best friends who introduced my husband and I did was she's a CPA now, but she did my homework in college for my accounting class. But same thing, like she's great at it. Our business CPA is great at it, but they're two different people and they work with the same tools but in different ways, and they can get you a result. So I think that's the same way to start applying all this spiritual stuff, because the other thing that happened is Pluto's in Aquarius now, so we're all going to be here whether we like it or not.
Right? It's coming for you, people.
We'll let Tess address that one, right?
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Well, so wrapping up today, I have two more questions for you. You can answer in however you'd like to. First, what's coming up next for you? What are some offerings you have? What do you want people to know? How do they connect with you? All of these things, whatever you want to share. And then because I know that you're committed to being intuitive, I'd love for you just to take a moment, consider who we're preparing to share this with, and if there's any messages that might come through that feel unsaid or feel like they need to be said on this episode today. So take it, run with whatever comes to you, my friend.
Okay, great. So upcoming offers I will be doing, especially with Christmas coming up. I love that you said that about the angels. I'll be doing a little mini workshop on angels and working with angels in the near future. So I am planning it. I just haven't set the dates yet as my kids' schedules dictate that. So that will be coming soon. My angel cards, feng shui, makeup are always around. So you can get those from me at any time. And to find me, you want to go to shannonhagerty.com. On Instagram, I'm Hello Shannon Hagerty. And Facebook, I'm at Hello Shannon Hagerty as well. And then I figured, why not? I feel like I'm just going to open the deck to a card. And so my remaining message is, it's funny how it always is right on. So it's teaching and learning. This is Archangel Zadkiel. I just pulled this card. It literally says teaching and learning. Archangel Zadkiel says, keep an open mind and learn new ideas. Then teach those ideas to others. So this is something I like to do. Obviously, it was validation for Katie and I, but I think if you're listening to this, I want to say explore some things, listen to these podcasts, listen to podcasts that intrigue you about any of this fun spirituality, woo-woo, makeup, anything, anything that intrigues you. It's worth learning. And then in turn, turning around and teaching it to others is such a helpful thing. And that's basically what we've done. And it helps make the world go round. So, yeah.
I love it. Thank you. Thanks for pulling a card for us. How fun.
Sure. Yeah.
Go learn it. Go teach it, peeps.
Yes.
Love that. I guess that, I could talk to you all day. I really appreciate you and your time and being willing to come and share from your expertise. I love partnering with you and learning from you as well.
Yes, same. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to be here. And thank you again for asking me and sharing what you know too about human design. It's always helping me in my business. So thank you.
Awesome. Good. Well, that's all we have for you this week. I hope that it served you well, and ask yourself, what is the action that you want to take based on this conversation? Because I know that there's something more that's calling to you. And so what is it? Is there something that sparked in you? And if so, go over to our free Facebook group, Inspired by Design with Katie Rupert. Give us a little shout. Tell us what you're learning, what you're doing, what you're taking action on. And if you would like your human design questions or any questions that have come up on this episode, you can go to the show notes for that Google form, submit them, and I will make sure to answer your question on a future episode. All right, until next week, have a good one. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Inspired by Design with Katie Rupert. If today's episode sparked something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your takeaways, subscribe, or even leave a review to help others find the show. For more tools and insights, visit my free Facebook group. And until next time, keep embracing exactly who you are and move forward one inspired action at a time.